Jake Velasquez, what's up, buddy? To be honest, man, you're a nice, happy-go-lucky guy, bro. Every time I see you, you got a smile on your face, which is nice, bro.
I try to be, but there's definitely moments where I'm sitting home alone, stewing in self-hatred.
Well, but that's okay. You keep it to yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I bottle it. I don't want to forgive other people it.
Slightly hungover today, you said?
Yes.
How many drinks did you have last night where you're super hungover, though?
Not that many, but I'm getting old, and I get really bad hangovers
Yeah,
now.
I think you and I are around the same age. Like, bro, if I have 2 drinks now, like, I'll get hungover. It's wild.
So, yeah, I had 5 last night.
Ooh.
So it was enough to get hungover.
Ooh, definitely.
And I was real drunk. And then part of me was like, because I had my car in Williamsburg, I'm like, I'll drive. And then I saw the spot. I was like, oh, I'm good. I don't have to move it. But, like, I was fully prepared. I had that drunk confidence where you're like, I'm not drunk. I'm not even buzzed. And then I woke up this morning throwing up. I'm like, I was hammered.
Where'd you grow up again?
I grew up in Riverdale.
I feel like growing up in the NYC realm, there really doesn't seem to be much drunk driving. Or, like, people don't really get arrested for drunk driving growing up in NYC. You know what I mean?
Well, one of my friends has made this point. Shout out Mike Bramante.
Mike Bramante.
He's
a comic, right?
Yeah, he's a comic. He was saying that, like, it's hard to just tell in New York. Because the way everyone's driving is, like, so aggressive, swerving in and out. So, like, how would you know? Unless someone was so drunk that they, like, hit something.
Also, because the speed limit is, like, 25.
Yeah. I mean, people are breaking it left and right. But,
true.
Yeah.
But if you're going 30 or 35, cops aren't really looking for that. You know what I mean?
Is this good to drink?
Yeah, imagine I just gave you some vodka. I was like, oh, we're getting the party started. Or keeping the party started, keeping the party going from last night.
Yeah,
but, dude, good decision. Good for you, man.
Yeah.
You're alive today because of the decisions you made last night?
Yes.
Potentially.
Good point.
Yeah, man.
I didn't think about it that way. I'm very responsible.
Yeah, dude.
Getting really drunk on a Wednesday.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? And that's the beauty of NYC, man. Like, you really don't have so much pressure to drunk drive. I don't know. How was your upbringing in drunk driving and stuff? Were kids going to parties and, like, going around? And because Riverdale, for the most part, is a suburb, right?
It's like technically part of the Bronx, but
Right.
It's definitely got a suburban feel. But I would say there was little to no drunk driving because my friends, we're close. You're still very close to the city, so it's a cab situation. You could easily do 4 or 5 in a cab, and it's like, and what we would do is we would just run the cab. So it'd be.
What do you mean? Oh my God, you do dine and dash cab style?
Yeah, so we would do cab to the city. You got to pay for that one because you can't really run a cab in the city.
Sure.
But Riverdale, it's like we know where to go.
The back roads?
Yeah, we know the back roads.
You piece of shit.
So we would go to, like, this one little alleyway where, like, cars can't drive, but you could, like, it's like a walking path, and we would just get dropped off there and just all.
How many times did you do that?
I probably did it. Man, I'm ashamed to admit all of this, but probably like a dozen times.
No.
Yeah.
Shit, bro. The one
It got to a point where it was like we enjoyed the act.
All 4 of you guys too.
There was like times there was 5 people. It was crazy.
Oh, damn. Well, how much was the cab that you guys were jumping out of?
For 5 people, not a lot, but we were young.
No, I know, but how much was the meter? Like 20, 25 at
No,
that
probably like
particular time?
30 to 40.
Woo!
Yeah. So I still wanted to avoid it.
Damn. But you could think, like, maybe that cab driver deserved it. Maybe there was some karma lurking for him, bro. I'm sure you probably made up for that in your life by now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think so. I've done some good deeds elsewhere.
Yeah, that's
to make
good.
up
So
for
you're
that.
even. The one time I'm pretty sure I did that was when I was like 16 or 17 years old, and it was the drunkest I've ever been. I took a cab home from this club in the meatpacking to Gramercy, and I was sitting in the back seat, dude. I was so drunk. I threw up on myself. I started swiping the credit card. The guy was like, it's not working. Comes around the car, like, tries to help me out.
Yeah.
And, bro, I don't know if it swiped. I'm pretty sure it didn't, but I just started booking it down the street, like, towards my apartment, my family apartment. My right foot kicks my left foot back, and I just do a full face plant. I wake up the next morning covered in, like, throw up, blood. Pretty sure
in your room,
I shit a little bit. Yeah, dude,
Nice.
it was insane. It was naughty.
That
dude,
sucks.
all the fluids. It was crazy.
Yeah,
but that was like my one time. I'm pretty sure like I paid for it then because I couldn't move for like 3 days. I was so sore.
Yeah, that's brutal,
just from the fall, and I protected my face too because I went.
Oh yeah, that sucks, man.
It was gnarly, man.
That's brutal.
But people should not be doing that, bro.
No,
you know
I don't
what I mean? Like the
recommend it.
dine and dash and all that shit.
I don't think you can now because it's all Uber.
Right.
And I mean, the yellow cabs were always tougher. What we would do is more the car service cabs, but like before Uber.
666.
You know, they had like the mercenaries.
666.
Yeah, like because you have. What was yours? That was it.
I was taking a lot of yellow cabs at night when I needed to travel from like the warehouse parties in Queens back home. Like we do like 4 of us. Yeah, but dude, it was definitely a weird situation because you needed to have cash like when we were growing up.
Well, I remember this is the funniest cab run was me and my one friend. It's just 2 of us. We're going back to Riverdale, and the guy's like, we're passing a toll. He's like, can you guys give me money for the toll? And we just start laughing. We're like, we don't even have cash. We were never going to pay for this. So then the guy knew we were going to run the cab at the toll.
Did he like kick you out there?
No, I mean, it's like the side of the highway. And then I think that time I feel like we might have actually like went to an ATM and paid. Yeah. But it was just like in the moment we were like, yeah, we fully intended to just not pay this cab.
Sometimes I don't really take cabs that often, but sometimes my phone doesn't work with the swiping machine. Like the other night it didn't work. So I got home. Yeah, the tap. I got home and I was like, dude, I need to run upstairs, get my credit card. Because I never carry around my credit cards now. It's just my phone. And I was like, you want to hold my phone? He was like, no, I trust you. No worries.
Oh, that's nice.
So, yeah, it was nice that he trusted me. It came back down. Well, we had a nice little rapport beforehand. And he also made a wrong left. Oh, okay. So, like, maybe he felt like he owed me a little bit.
All right, that's good.
You know what I mean?
You built some trust.
Yeah, built some trust. But nice. I think just growing up in the city, man, a lot of mischief. Right? Like, I don't know how many of your friends went to rehab or, like, were sober by the age of 21, but I saw a lot of that.
Probably, I had a lot of friends in Manhattan as well, and I feel like there's a little more of that in Manhattan probably. But, I mean, Riverdale had the fair share of that, but it got to a place where it's like we kind of, like, split. And I feel like most of my friends are relatively responsible. They're all big drinkers, like, huge drinkers, but they're not, like... I had one friend OD. I had a few friends that, like... No rehab.
And died?
Yeah, OD'd and died. Damn. And then a few rehab. I don't know if anyone went to rehab, but all of us had our like pill phase, in college.
How old was this time for him?
When he passed was probably like 6 years ago. So it was after college. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. And he was just drinking a ton in high school and then just switched to the pills?
He was always kind of a drug guy, like even in high school. Even like middle school. He was like one of the first people I smoked weed with, like in 7th grade. And luckily, I had like a pill phase, but it was very short lived. But his was a little too long.
It's fucked up because people will say that weed is the gateway drug, and for everybody who ODs and dies, they usually the first drug that they tried was weed. So yes, theoretically it is a gateway drug, but I don't know, man. I don't see myself doing anything really more than weed, even now, dude.
I don't think it's a gateway drug at all. I think it's all those people would have done drugs anyways. So like weed is like the light. It's like your first step. So, but it's not but if you were like 30 and you've never smoked weed, you're not going to smoke weed and all of a sudden be doing ecstasy.
Yeah. I wonder what that is. Is our brain more mature?
Well, I think it's just that when you're young, you're too early to know. Like it's like you smoke weed early and then you do drugs, but you would have always done drugs. You know what I mean? But when you're 30, you're not a drug guy. So it's not like weed's just going to suddenly make you a drug head. You know what I'm saying?
It's also interesting, though, growing up in the city, there's so much to do, theoretically. It's not like we were sitting in the suburbs being like, 6 p.m. on a Friday night, what the shit are we going to do? We're going to drink in our friend's basement, we're going to go to the movies, or we're going to shoot up some heroin.
Right.
Something like that.
Well, actually, I think there's a lot of like New York City potheads that are very productive, and I think it's because of...
Your boy, bro. Your boy right here.
And I think it's because of... that because there's so much to do that like when we have to do some bullshit we're like, what am I just gonna do this? Like I gotta be high to clean because everything else is so exciting that this is boring as hell.
Did you take Adderall as a kid?
In college, and then like during my party phase I took it sometimes to like stay up, but it was never like a daytime thing.
I took it from the age of like 8 to 15, dude. So by the time I was...
Like prescribed.
Yes. By the time I was like 14, 15 years old, I was like, I cannot take this anymore. I was like, I was a zombie. It turned me off. It just switched me to anything that was boring in school that they needed me to focus on, I could focus on and get a C+.
Right.
It was crazy. And now I find that weed kind of does the same thing in terms of locks me in on something, like focusing, but it's more of what I want to focus on. And I feel much better, and I don't feel like I have no personality when I'm high, but... Yeah. The Adderall, dude, like you'll just be a chatterbox, then you just shut up for 2 hours, and then like there's a huge come down.
I actually have taken a handful of Adderalls that I've like, like maybe I was saving it for a night out, but I'll have like just a lot of like cleaning to do, and I'll do like an Adderall clean.
Oh, okay.
Which is actually
that's
an Adderall clean. That's like the secret.
Yeah.
You don't need like a maid or
No,
cleaning.
don't. You
like,
just need Adderall.
You just need Adderall.
Yeah, instead of paying the maid $50, you just take
50,
Adderall.
dude. It's like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, that's true.
To get your apartment cleaned, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So you spend $10.
Have you had a maid service at your apartment ever?
I've had someone come clean like in my lifetime, probably like 8 times.
Where'd you find her or him?
Always.
That was sexist.
I used to work in real estate, so I would just ask people.
Let's go. Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember that,
Yeah,
bro.
so who
We
do you
talked
know?
about that. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Who do you know? Well, you probably got the most expensive people though.
No, I had one lady that someone
like cleaning the high end apartments.
Well, but there's some of these like New York City realtors that are like native New Yorkers, grew up and they know like the ins and outs.
Sure.
I got this one lady that was like legitimately the most thorough clean, and it wasn't that bad. It was like pretty cheap.
I love a thorough clean.
Dude,
man.
she had the windows off the window. She was scrubbing the window, hand scrubbing the window. She had that shit off and then put it back. It was crazy.
That's insane.
It was wild.
That's wild.
She like binder clipped all my joint papers. It was insane. It was so cool.
You love to see, man, when somebody goes above and beyond in their job. That's when you can tell somebody has a good attitude, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you're doing something that seems like tedious, but you do it anyway.
Well, then also
With
took
stride.
out a little Tupperware and put all the change that she found in that, and I was like, she's honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if she wants that change.
Well, also, you don't know
but,
how much
yeah.
change you had.
That's
but
true.
Yes,
But it was a
she
nice gesture.
honest. It was a nice gesture.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to U Maryland, but I dropped out.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the situation there?
It was fun. It was like a state school, party
Yeah.
school, which is part of the reason I wanted to go. But then it's like all I did, so then I was like, this is kind of pointless.
And you came back and became a broker for a moment.
Yeah.
Who did you work under? Anyone who's like doing super well? Orion Searhant, this guy's trying to sell a $250 million apartment. I don't know if you saw that in Central Park.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Insane.
No one that would be like a celebrity.
Right,
But
like
I've,
not on that Bravo show.
yeah, but I've worked
$1 million
with
listing.
some like really big brokers on certain deals. I worked, and I worked at for a good company, so there's like a lot of big dogs always around. But I don't know if I like ever like was reporting directly to. There's this one guy that helped me a lot. He took me under his wing in the early days, and he sold the most expensive apartment in New York, which has since been eclipsed.
Yeah, I'm sure. How much
But
was
it was like
though,
180
though?
million. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And he didn't get 3%, I imagine, because they
think
do like
I don't
smaller
know,
deals on
but
it.
he owns an
180,
apartment,
bro.
He owns an apartment in the building that he sold. So I think he does have a lot of money. Like he owns like a probably $20 million apartment.
Oh, what is it?
Ted Jones.
No, his name's
Ted Jones.
Oh, I think I've seen that guy's
I
name.
almost don't even want to throw the name.
Yeah, you want me to believe it?
I'm scared.
All right, I'll bleep it.
Bleep it.
Well, you guys don't even know who the fuck it
Then
is
no one will
anyway.
know who
Whatever.
he
Yeah, I'll
is.
bleep him.
He's not like a celebrity.
But
I'm
it kind
scared
of
of
is if you're on Street Easy and shit.
Yeah, if you're a real estate
Also,
agent,
but
you would
I'll
know.
bleep it. But you shouldn't be. You're giving him free press. This guy's a beast.
That's true. He is a beast. He is a beast. I don't know who's listening to this
Not
that's
bad. So,
buying.
usually, well, right, but usually when you're selling apartments at that level or houses, you're in LA. There's a predetermined. Okay, you're gonna get X amount on the sale because you can't go around giving. I guess 3% on the buyer side and the seller side, because that would be 6% of 180 mil, which no seller or buyer of the apartment would be willing to pay. Which
I
is
don't know
interesting.
though. I think they might.
I don't think so, dude. Because if you went to your boy
Ted Jones. Ted Jones.
Yeah.
and was like, "All right, dude, this broker said he'd do it for 1%. We're not going to pay you 6%. What's the lowest you'll go?" That's the thing, bro. Like when you get savagely rich, you could just be like Donald Trump. He hired like 150 people to do the betting at his Trump hotel. This is my grandpa actually worked at this company, and it was like $1.5 million job. And he was like, well, I can't pay you $1.5 million. We'll pay you $500,000. They're like, what? Like that's not gonna cover it. Well, you can either go to court with me, and I'm gonna drag it out, or you take the 500 right now.
That happens a lot.
Sometimes these vendors, it's tough.
That happens a lot in
vendor
commercial real estate.
Uh-huh.
I can maybe see it happening in luxury sales. The thing is, though, I think like the way he sold this apartment was like he had bought an apartment in this building because he was pretty successful.
Yeah.
And he just marketed the shit out of it, and he was like the best person to sell in that building. So it's the guy that was selling that apartment.
It was the developer of the building.
No, he a resale. I think it was like this like CEO of some big bank.
resale?
Yeah, and then he was like one friendly with the guys / best person to sell in this building. So
Yeah.
like they might have at least on the seller's side paid him
Like 3%.
And then the
maybe?
buyer was out of country, like a
Oh,
foreigner.
yeah, like
so
he didn't
like
care anyway.
he actually might have held the cards in this particular deal.
Damn, dude.
There's a chance. I don't know anything about it, but there's a chance.
NYC real estate, man, is fascinating.
It's very interesting. I feel like it's funny. I'm sure it's just because these are the things we're in, but like I feel like every conversation you overhear is about real estate or nowadays, dude, comedy.
Oh yeah,
Comedy's huge in New York.
Right. I was
It's,
watching.
like,
Do you ever
insane.
watch Breakpoint on Netflix? You know what I'm talking about, the tennis documentary behind the scenes, or you know how they're doing one for F1. They did one for golf. Do you have you watch Netflix at all?
I haven't, but yeah.
But one of this girl who retired Serena Williams last year, Ayla Tomljanovic, at the U.S. Open third round. She was like, "We are going to Comedy Cellar this time for sure." And I was like, "What?" She's name dropped the cellar.
That's amazing.
And she's like big for just random tennis people. Yeah, but dude, comedy's getting so hot.
It's like insane.
Except sometimes, we'll have shows for not that many people. But yeah, it is super freaking hot.
There's so many shows now
It's
that
wild.
you could go to a show and see 3 people in the audience. You could go a block up. You'll see a show with 5 people in the audience. You go a block up. You see one with 20, 50. Like, it's just like, there's literally like hundreds of shows a day. It's like an unfathomable amount of comedy.
It's a beautiful thing about New York. I was just in LA, and there's only so many given shows in a night, and you can only do so many given shows in a night. Yeah,
really? Because to get to the other...
Bro, I did a show in North Hollywood, and this happened in instance when I went to LA previously, where you have to pass by the Hollywood Bowl, surrounded by hills on both sides. So when they had a huge concert at the Hollywood Bowl, they have a traffic light that there's a guy controlling. So no joke, we sat at a red light for 10 minutes, just waiting for all this traffic to go by. And then the navigation is like, oh, you're 22 minutes away. And then just each minute is ticking by. It's just 23, brutal. 24, 25. So it's like, you can't even get around with MapQuest. But New York, bro, the subways are pretty reliable. I don't know about you today, but for the most part, very reliable.
True. Well, I will say this with New York, there's just so many routes. You could bike, you could cab, you could subway. Like, I got the city. I have like 5 means of getting around.
Let's hear them.
Well, I have my own car.
Yeah.
You could take a cab, subway, and then I have city bike. So it's like I could really, like, almost, especially once it's warm, I'm almost like exclusively a city bike guy, which I should have done today, but I was too hungover to bike.
Yeah, I'm
So
sure,
like,
especially in the
subway.
heat, dude.
Yeah,
Coming
yeah.
here sweating.
Yeah.
What do you think the easiest way to get around New York is?
Bike. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's a little treacherous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was riding the electric city bike for like a month and a half. And then eventually I was just like, I like to walk anyway. It doesn't cut so much time. And it sneaks up on you, the price sometimes. Like, I'll go half a mile and be $10.
Oh, well, do you have a membership?
Oh, no.
If you have the membership, it's actually pretty cheap.
Really?
Yeah.
And it costs, it's unlimited miles just per month?
For the, what do you call them? Non-electrics?
Yeah, but I want to use the electric.
For those,
so
it's
fun.
free. And then for the electrics, it charges like a meter, but it's pretty cheap. Like, I'll go from East Village to Upper West Side. It's like $3.
So you're a big biker. That's a trip and a half.
But it's only electric. I mean, it's like not bad. Dude. But dude,
So
yeah,
kinda fast.
I've done Eastville Comedy Club.
Yeah.
Like by
In
Barclays
Brooklyn,
Center.
yeah.
To the Upper West Side. On the
So
electric.
you go over the bridge?
Yeah. The
And
bridge
they
is
have-
the best.
Yeah, they
It's
have
so
like
fun.
a good enough path.
Some of them are a little scary, but they're like, dude, these things zip. You feel
Yeah,
like
they
it's
do,
fun,
they do,
dude.
they
And
do.
you get a nice breeze on a hot day.
You're making it
Also,
sound good.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Between spots, it's like best between spots.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes you like got a long journey home, you don't really want to do it, but like if you're going from like East Village to like Gramercy to West Village, like the city bike is the perfect little way to get around.
Because the heat on the subway will really get you. I don't
Yeah.
understand sometimes where it legitimately feels like 100 degrees down there. It just captures the heat.
Well, Union Square 456 platform, I think it was clocked at like the hottest platform, and it was like 106 or something like that.
For
and
real?
it's humid. Dude.
When was that?
This was like 2-3 years. No, this is probably the year before COVID that I saw the article, but I don't think it's changed. I'm pretty sure it's still the hottest.
I think it's just because they have all of those tracks in that particular area, maybe.
I don't know
They have
what
all
it
those
is. Dude,
trains
there's
right
a
there.
fan there
Yeah.
that just blows hot air. It's like not like helping. It just like makes it worse, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like 106, and then it's like humid also. So
Right,
it's
right,
like
right.
it's not like a 106 in Texas. It's like a torture chamber.
We have the Wi-Fi down there, but no AC,
Yeah, it's brutal.
which is interesting. I wonder when they're going to put Wi-Fi just everywhere. Why is Wi-Fi so valuable? You walk into a place, you're like, oh, what's the Wi-Fi in
Yeah.
here? Shouldn't there just freaking be Wi-Fi? Like in space? Just shoot the Wi-Fi
Isn't that
down.
what Elon Musk does? Am I crazy?
What does he do?
That Starlink thing or whatever. I think he does it in like other countries, but like
Where they can just have Wi-Fi everywhere?
well, yeah, it's like more like third world countries that don't have access to Wi-Fi.
Yeah, they get the best Wi-Fi.
They end up now getting the best, but I think he does something. Yeah, like what? I wonder how. Maybe it's not that good, but it gives you Wi-Fi everywhere.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Did you see these 6 people that are doing a Mars simulation for like 380 days? They went in a 1,700 square foot dome, and they're just going to be living in there for 380 days under Mars conditions. It's great. They just went in like 2 days ago. Dude.
That's like Biodome.
What's up?
You've ever seen that
well,
movie?
I've heard
it's
of it.
with like Pauly Shore and Brendan Fraser. It's about they just like live in this dome for like years or whatever as like an experiment.
Yeah.
It's literally Biodome. It's like
Yeah.
the exact same thing. It's not Mars, but it's like
Would
the
you
exact same
would
premise.
you have gone? I've been asking people this. Would you have gone on that Titanic journey in the submarine?
submarine?
Yeah, for 250K.
It depends how it was phrased.
Okay, so they've been before it imploded. They had been down there like 40 times, 40 different trips. I easily would have gone if I was, billionaire, 250K.
I don't think I would.
Really?
I don't think I would go unless it was understood that we were not coming back. Group suicide. Then I'm in.
You go to space though?
I would make the thing is
I don't know why space is more safe, dude.
I
It doesn't
talked
make
about
any
this-
sense to me.
I talked about this with my friend.
Yeah.
We've talked like I was like saying like, oh, I'm gonna go to space. I can't wait. Like whatever. And then he's like, dude, you have to like take a Klonopin before you fly. Can you imagine the amount of like Xanax you would need to
You've
get
been
to
flying
space?
a lot recently though. You're not comfortable?
No, now I'm good. Now I'm
Yeah.
good. I'll still do like the sleepy weed edibles sometimes though to like try to knock out. 'cause I
When do
don't-
you take it though? Because you can't go through security with that. Or
You
I don't
can.
know if you do.
You can.
Well, but maybe I don't think you legally can.
What I usually do, especially one gummy, you're like
Yeah.
nothing's gonna happen
Right.
unless you're like maybe in like Texas or like some place where it's like illegal. But
Yeah.
in New York and like LA and stuff, you're fine. But I'll usually have like a gummy and like I'll put everything else in like a check bag, and then
Under the plane?
yeah, under the plane, and then I'll put like maybe like a loose gummy like in the little pocket, and then I'll just as right before I'm starting board, or like maybe even like as I'm going through security.
You see what's happening at the airport, dude?
What do you mean?
It's all over my TikTok. They've canceled thousands of flights from
Really?
New York to Chicago to Miami.
Why?
People are needing to go from New York to Mexico to connect in Chicago.
Why?
I don't know. It's the thunderstorms, and then apparently there's a conspiracy theory that there's like a Russian plane coming over that we were paying for, and Putin's on it. That's a conspiracy theory that some people are discussing on TikTok, and you know how deep people get on TikTok.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
weird.
bro, there are thousands of flights that have been canceled randomly, and they're saying it's because of bad weather, but like my talk is just blown up like United is the worst, American's the
Yeah.
worst. Like, okay, which fucking airline am I supposed to fly? Frontier's the
Delta.
worst. Yeah, dude. I
think
think
Delta's
people
the
don't
most.
really talk shit about Delta so much.
Well, it's just that you go on Delta and you're like Delta kind of stinks, whatever, and then you go on other airlines and it's, dude, it's almost every time I've gotten a non-Delta flight, it's been there's been some sort of cancellation or delay that has fucked stuff up. Like I've had to like rebook or whatever.
Yeah.
And like they still will like it ends up like working out, but it's like just mayhem.
Apparently, the issue is that there's not enough air traffic controllers at this particular time for July 4th.
Oh.
But like, couldn't they have figured that out before? The process of flying feels so far behind. Like flying 25 years ago just was way more comfortable. You had more leg room.
Yeah,
They're literally fat shaming everyone now. Like I can't even fit into a seat. It's fucked up.
Well, there was a great meme where it was like flying in like the 1970s, and it was a
Yeah.
picture of like guys with like steak and lobster.
Yeah, I think
and they're
I
like,
saw
I can't
that.
wait to see what we have in 30 years. It's just like a little ass bag of Sun Chips.
Yeah,
It's like,
dude.
We've been demoted.
And then they had that, what was it called? The Concordia jet, or the one that flew to England in, I forget what it's called, but they flew to England in like 3.5 hours, and it just became too expensive. That would have been something cool to keep around, but it was just like every seat needed to be 10 times more expensive because they were only able to put like 100 seats in there.
yeah.
I'm
I
surprised
honestly-
it's still taking so long to get to all these places. What were you
Dude,
going to say?
but just it seems like COVID really decimated. Like it was much better pre-COVID. Since COVID, it has not come back to normal.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. It's like the
Yeah.
last thing to come back.
Right. It's because, it's the most financially burdened industry, I would think, because if you
Probably,
take
yeah.
off, like, what was it, bro? 3 months, there were, like, no flights allowed. And the amount of money that they were just running through, and it's all those airlines, and they need to go to this state, that state.
Yeah. Yeah, they got fucking hosed.
Yeah, man.
Because it's like, Yeah, it's brutal, dude. There's like no good option. I mean, Delta's the best, and if you get like,
Dude, I'm starting to think Delta paid you for this.
yeah, this is an ad for Delta.
Yes, an ad.
Well, I'm a Delta loyal guy.
Yeah. Oh
but
yeah, you were saying that, dude. You were telling me
I'm a
that the other
medallion
night.
guy,
Yeah.
But it's still not good though. It's still bad. You know, so it's like there's no good option.
We're still seeing restaurants and stores in the city struggle, and it seems like now you're starting to see where the lease was probably going to be renewed. People are just deciding not to renew the lease, and the rent's just too damn high in terms of store rentals. You know, people always complain about apartment rentals, but that's a whole nother story.
I actually think the city's kind of buzzing though.
How do you mean outside of people complaining about rent and stuff?
Well, yeah, like that all sucks, but I do feel like just like I feel like post-COVID it was like, oh, New York's back, quote unquote, and it kind of was, but like you could walk around at 2 a.m. and it's still kind of dead.
Yeah.
Past couple like months, that's like it's kind of back to like you could go out on a Monday at 2 a.m.
Yeah, it's
still
crazy.
Packed bar.
I think one of the most packed areas is probably that McDougal kind of area.
It's insane.
You know,
dude,
near
4
the comedy
a.m.
clubs.
Like literally, you could stay out all night in that area, and there's people out. It's wild.
Have you done any of those spots at like 12 a.m. on a Sunday?
I've done the midnight fair.
Yeah, I haven't done that yet.
And then I leave at 2 a.m. and I'm like,
ridiculous.
I'm gonna get stabbed. There's gonna be no one out, and then there's literally the pack.
Everyone's
streets.
eating corn dogs and
like
shit.
12 p.m. I mean, midnight show on a Wednesday.
Dope. Talk about alternate side parking for those listening and watching who don't know about it in New York City. Is it really as difficult as it sounds? Or is it easy?
Well, it's
depends where you are,
more
I'm
difficult.
sure.
Way more difficult if you have a real like 9 to 5. For a night person,
Yes.
you know, or a comedian, it's not the worst. The only thing is you have to commit time to like sit in your car during those, because you don't have to move your car. You only have to move your car if you can't sit in your car for the 90-minute period. So what I'll do is I'll just sit in my car, listen to a podcast, maybe even write, and then sometimes the street cleaner comes, you just got to move out of the way, go back into the spot. But it sucks with like plans, like, you know, like doing the podcast. Like, oh, okay, I'm not free till 12:30 because I gotta sit in my car.
The idea of the street cleaners fascinating.
Well, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, like why haven't
Just
they?
spreads it.
Why haven't they figured out a better way for that, dude? Flying and fucking street cleaning.
Yeah,
man.
the street cleaning. There a lot of the. Yeah, we could upgrade our vehicles. I feel like if robots are being built, let's get some better planes, some better street cleaners.
I've also thought about, you know, when seeing a raging fire, like wouldn't it be easier if there were just 10 drones that went up with a hose attached to it? Yeah, instead of having guys like potentially die and go into the buildings. Well, I know they're unionized, so that would never happen, but it just seems like that would be a way better solution to put out fires.
Yeah.
And then ambulances too? Maybe you just... What, you have a drone and then you just have something hanging and then you just put the person in the drone and then they just fly the ambulance.
It'd be sick so that we didn't have to hear the goddamn siren.
Bro. And
Siren's brutal.
even being New Yorkers, man, or I don't know about you, I still am covering my freaking ears.
100%.
It's no joke.
Well, I think it's worse here than anywhere because there's like, you know, it's city traffic and then they just get stuck. Bad. Sometimes they just get stuck and so they keep it running.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, turn it off for a second, get out and knock on someone's window. Like,
get the fuck out of the way.
It's crazy.
Insane, man.
Yeah.
Subway, freaking all the means of transportation. I feel like by this point in time, we should have figured out how to teleport in some fashion or another. How many years?
I think in
15, 20? No, that seems too...
10 to 15.
10 to 15, we're going to be able to snap and go somewhere?
I don't know about Snap.
Yeah.
But I think there'll be a way.
Yeah, and it seems like things are going to start to move a lot faster with this chat GPT.
That's
you ever
what I'm
use
saying.
it?
Yeah.
I haven't really used it at all.
I'll say this, though. It kind of sucks.
Yeah.
It's good for certain things.
It's too professional, I think.
It's good for, like, I want to know about this thing. Instead of Googling, I'll chat GPT because it gives you could, like, ask questions about, you know, like.
Oh, it's like Ask Jeeves. You remember that?
So, I don't know how Ask Jeeves worked. How did Ask Jeeves work?
It was basically like Google, but you'd ask Jeeves a question. So it's kind of like Siri.
Oh,
actually.
got it. So, yeah, it's like Siri, but it's a little better maybe in terms of, like, the responses it gives. And it'll, like, bullet point stuff for you. And then you could be like, what about this? And then it'll, like, you know, you kind of have more of a dialogue with what you're trying to figure out. So it's really good in that sense. But there's, like, this tool where it's, like, called, like, the code interpreter. But basically, you could just read documents. So I was trying to make, like, these Excel sheets to, like, keep track of stuff. And what it's supposed to do is be able to, like, create these spreadsheets for you. And just every time it's like error, and it's like, in theory, what you're saying this can do is good, but it kind of never works, so it also sucks.
At the moment.
Yeah, at the moment.
I don't know if it's gonna. I don't know. I mean, people are saying that it's gonna take people's jobs. I don't know,
take
man.
some jobs.
Yeah, it'll take some.
I don't know if it'll take as
ones.
many as
And
people
also,
think.
man, like when I go to the grocery store now, it's self checkout. So I feel like I added a fucking job. Now I know how to scan groceries.
Yes. That's our job now.
Yeah.
Self-checkout, they have to keep the two options.
With the go to the register or the self checkout.
Yes.
I think Whole Foods does that though, right?
I think they do. Yeah.
Whole
But it's
Foods,
just because, like, self checkout's great if you're like grabbing a juice. You should have to like wait for these like old ladies. But when you have a ton of shit, it's like, I want someone bagging this. I don't want to do this.
I wonder if there's a union for those Whole Food workers.
There probably is, I think.
And then there's a union for the things that are slowing us down. It seems like.
Yeah. Unions are kind of. It would be cool to be part of a union, though.
Yeah, that's true. Dude, I went on a date with this girl recently, and she's a nurse, and they have a nurses union, which I didn't really know. Yeah.
Huh.
But I can definitely understand that because I imagine that hospitals would just overwork nurses like nobody's business.
Dude, nursing is kind of a wild job.
Yeah.
Like, you just see the wildest shit.
Dude.
And you just have to, like, go, and you have a fucked up... Like, how are you not... They all seem like maybe... Like, they seem very happy, like good people. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, you have to be mentally unwell in a way because you're getting like a fucked up sleep cycle. You work for these long stretches and see fucked up stuff. And then you just go about your day normally the next day. That seems a little crazy.
It feels like that's kind of what a therapist does.
What do you mean?
Ish. Well, they see fucked up shit all day. And maybe they don't have a messed up sleeping cycle. But I think just experiencing trauma every day can be good.
It's crazy.
It's very admirable being a doctor, a nurse, or a psychologist.
So the most admirable.
You're seeing a lot of trauma. Like us being comedians, we just like speak about the trauma.
Yeah,
You know what I
we
mean? Let it
complain
out.
way more than nurses, and we see nothing but sometimes a face that's not laughing.
Yeah.
That's like that's the worst thing to say.
Yeah, especially being in the city. Dude, you've been on the road quite a bit. Where's been your favorite place? Any crazy stories from on the road? The people that you've met?
Denver.
Yeah.
Best place, I think.
Comedy Works, right?
Comedy Works, because that's the best club, but also
People say that, man. Haven't been out there.
It was crazy, yeah. It's so good. But also just Colorado's kind of sick in general. Like Red Rocks and hiking, and I like all that stuff. So that's probably been up there. I like Nashville a lot. Nashville's pretty sick. Zany's also really good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think most places. Honestly, Texas I thought I would not like, and I really like it. Like Houston was
What part?
sick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of never really going to sleep or having shit going on all the time, Nashville is like that too, right?
Dude, Nashville is
Every time I see a picture
sort
of
a
it,
wild place.
people are just on the balconies. There's hundreds of people, if not thousands, on that main strip. What's it called?
Broadway.
Okay.
Yeah. No, Nashville's kind of crazy actually. Like because I went just for comedy, and like the first 2 times, and it's like a little bit outside. The club's like outside of the city, so I didn't really see it.
Right.
But the last time I was there, I went for a bachelor party, and I was like, this is outrageous. It's like, dude, it's every night. And there's so many. It's almost like if every bar in New York City was in like one place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then there's other areas you could go to, but they're just much more toned down. So, but like, the bars are like the size of like an entire building, and they're packed to the gills. And then you go across the street, same thing. And then you go down next door, same thing. And it's like, there's millions of people out right now.
That's like European kind of vibe.
Yeah, you know what's kind of similar to like 6th Street in Austin? I don't know if you've ever been there.
No, I haven't been yet.
Similar to that though too,
A lot
but
of
even more
young
Nashville.
professionals.
Yeah, or like post grads, or even still in college sometimes. There was some young. Weird thing about Nashville, it's like bachelorette party land.
Oh, nice.
So you'll meet girls, and you're like, this girl is like 14, and she's like, I'm getting married. I'm like, how is that legal? This is crazy.
A lot of your friends getting married these days. Are you on the
All of them.
circuit? You're on the circuit right now.
Like the wedding
circuit. Yeah. You bringing a +1 or what?
No.
Yeah, dude.
No girlfriend.
Yeah. Well, also that would make the trip more expensive too.
Would make it more expensive.
You know?
I will say this though, I've gotten lucky at a wedding or two, but I think Wedding Crashers gave us a very false sense of weddings.
You think so?
Dude, it's
People were
never
legitimately
single
trying
women.
to do that?
It's
Yeah.
never. Well, it's like the single women that are there are definitely looking to like hook up.
Yeah.
But the chances that there's single women there are so low. In Wedding Crashers, it's like these like models. You think that you go to a wedding and all of a sudden your friends know models that they never knew before, but it's not that at all. It's nothing but all couples, everyone's having a romantic evening and like kissing and like we should do this one day, and you're by yourself just on the edge of the dance floor.
Did you hear LeBron's wedding had 2 wedding crashers?
Really?
LeBron James, yeah.
Successful?
Yeah, well, he said he had come out and said that he had 2 wedding crashers at his wedding. So I don't know how successful they were, but imagine sneaking into LeBron's wedding.
Well, that wedding will be like Wedding Crashers.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the premise of wedding. Maybe that's what they are doing.
Well, that's true, because if you remember the last wedding that they went to, it ended up being like the senator and his senator's daughter. So like that was the big time wedding to crash, and that's why maybe there was so much talent.
I think that's what it is. You have to go to the big time weddings.
Yeah.
I'm going to these like small time ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where's been the best wedding? So best wedding destination. I'm going to Wyoming in September.
That could be actually sick though.
Yeah.
That's one of those places that's like could
cabins.
sneakily just have the most stunning wedding venue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Have some friends going too, so that'll be fun.
Best. Well, you know what? It's almost all been in New York. I just went to like an awesome wedding in the Berkshires, which was
where's that again?
Massachusetts. Which the town is like it's just like a small town, but the wedding was sick. Like the venue was awesome, so that was really good. And then New Orleans, but that was a sick wedding, but also New Orleans is a sick city.
Yeah.
So those two have been
I've heard they have a lot of sleepaway camps in the Berkshire. You go to sleepaway camp?
No. Did you?
Yeah, dude. 3.5 weeks. I hated it. I
just
cried.
3.5 weeks a year?
Yeah, dude.
Is that normal or is it all summer for a lot of
Well, it's typically either 3.5 weeks or 7 weeks.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of my friends
like
from college did the 7-week.
Yeah, those are the kids who just love camp. I love day camp, but I just needed to go home at night, bro. I just got too homesick.
Yeah, I get that. I get that for sure.
I loved sleeping in my own bed, dropping a deuce in my own toilet. Even nowadays, dude. When I was in LA before the spot, I had been on the flight all day. I started hammering some cashews like 3 hours before the set, and then we stopped at a coffee place before I went on stage, and no joke, 10 minutes before I just like unleashed the fattest deuce I've taken in freaking weeks.
It's something about the cross-country trip. I was just with one of my buddies.
Yeah, what's up with that? Anytime I'm sitting for a long time, I just start getting crumbles in my stomach. What were you saying?
Well, yesterday I was with my friend, and he's literally just got back to New York from LA, and he said the exact same thing. He's like, I just took the biggest dump. And I'm like, maybe it's a cross-country thing, because you're both saying it.
Do you think maybe it's altitude? It could be the altitude.
I have no idea what it is.
Like
but
you're
I think
all the way up there,
something.
your stomach kind of pops up a little bit, gets a little rumble.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's the
I think it's a long time
flights.
where you can't shit because no one could shit in an airplane bathroom.
Yeah.
So it's just a long time that you're waiting, and then
what do you do on flights nowadays?
I'll try to sleep, but movies
On your phone or on the thing?
on the thing. I will say
It's gotten great.
that's the one place that airlines have improved.
Yes.
The movies, so you could get like
entertainment.
movies that are like out now. Sometimes.
That's actually very true. But now I'm spoiled to it. Now I just have maybe too many options. I wouldn't mind just like the DirecTV, being able to watch ESPN, watch
I think they have that
ABC
too,
or whatever.
though.
Right, but they have that, and then they also have all these movies. So I'm like, I don't even know what to watch. I'll watch the airport map, the airplane map.
Yeah,
You
the
know what I
tracker.
mean? Even though it's moving so slow.
Well, yeah.
Some of them are actually better than the other because you can see it slowly go over. But when I was flying JetBlue, it was like all the way out, and then you can kind of see it move like every 10 minutes. It would move like centimeter, if that. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. But sometimes if you do those like 2-hour flights, they go no screen, and I'm like, this is wild.
Do you remember when they were coming out with all these cars with the screens in the back, like the TV screen?
Yes,
you put one behind the passenger
Like
and one behind the
minivans.
driver. Yeah, it was insane. What happened to that?
That was sick.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was sick.
I was like begging my parents to get one of 2 younger sisters too.
Oh, nice. Yeah, they had like little DVD players.
Yeah, well, I remember. Yeah, I was watching Kangaroo Jack on them.
Wow,
remember that
that's
movie?
a perfect
Great
back
movie.
of the car movie.
Yeah,
that's
dude.
made for the back of the
But
car.
I wonder what happened to it. I guess it would just like cost too much money to put in. Nobody really gave a shit.
Yeah, I have
But
no
it
idea.
really like vanished. It was around for
Yeah, you're right.
5 years or something like that.
That's a good point. I don't know what happened.
How much TV are you watching these days?
Not that much, but a little bit.
That's good.
You know what I watched the other day? I guess there's a new season of Black Mirror. I was kind of.
Oh,
I love
shit.
Black Mirror.
Are all of the episodes correlated? Because I know the first season wasn't, right?
None of the seasons are, I don't think.
Right.
But,
So
yeah.
each episodes they're not correlated?
Sometimes they'll like do callbacks, but there's
Okay.
very rarely. Yeah.
Are the episodes scary that you watch, dude? Some of the other ones are just freaking me out too much.
There's some that are scary-ish, but there's more that are like disturbing, and then there's like a hand. You know what I mean?
That's scary to me.
That's
though.
yeah. So yeah. But it's not like scary, like I'm gonna see shit at night. It's more just
Yeah.
like, dude, I'm fucked up. Is that gonna happen? But like, it's not like, like you watch like a horror movie and you like are jumping when you see a shadow. There's none of that. But there is some like,
like
the
the world
phone is
could move
evil.
this
My
way.
phone's listening to me. Like some of that
Classic.
stuff.
Like
Yeah.
it's not. Yeah, exactly.
It makes you a little more paranoid. But then there's some that are just interesting and not scary or disturbing, really.
Did you watch Jury Duty yet?
No, what's that?
Do you know what I'm talking about on
No.
Amazon? You no idea what I'm talking
No
about?
clue.
This guy fills out a Craigslist ad about doing a documentary type in a jury duty setting. By the way, holy fuck, I have jury duty July 13th. I have to show up. They just send me a notice. How beat is that?
So I just got out of jury duty, and then they sent me a notice because I moved, because I was Bronx, and now I'm about to be like,
I thought it was every 7 years though.
yeah, that's what I need to like send them something. But
Yeah.
it's really, it sucks when they fuck up, because it puts so much
Dude,
work
'cause then
into
you have
your...
to, you have to be on the phone for 6 hours.
Dude, it's like a whole day.
Yeah. It's like calling Delta.
it's crazy.
No offense to Delta. Sorry, Jake.
It's just,
But
it's
it
like,
literally
oh, yeah.
it is like on the phone for hours on end. But anyway, the show Jury Duty, this kid signed up. He's like a guy around our age, and all the people in the actual jury duty situation are actors, and he's the only one who's not an actor. So they have all these people playing a fake case, and they're just documenting the whole thing. Like he thinks it's a documentary on being in the courtroom, but they're all just messing with him just a little bit. So like on the edge of it not being believable.
Okay.
And for 2 weeks he is sequestered, which means he's staying in a hotel, can't have his phone. So he's just dealing with all these actors for 2 weeks. He's being filmed and he doesn't know. And then, dude, you have to watch. It's on
Yeah, it
Amazon
sounds
Prime.
interesting.
Yeah, and
I'll
then at
check it
the
out.
end, they figure it out, and it turns out he's the best guy ever. And this guy, James Marsden, you ever hear of him? He's like a very famous actor, but you'd only recognize him by the face. He was in like X-Men. He was in The Notebook. He was the other guy. You'd recognize his face.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So he's like an insane actor in it. He like is a dick, but he's obviously just putting it on for the camera, being super funny. You should watch that. I don't watch so much TV, but when I like get attached to a series, like I'll definitely jump in. I never watched Succession. Did you watch that?
Nah.
Yeah, apparently we gotta.
This is what
That's
happened.
they're saying, though.
I saw the first episode or two.
Yeah, I think I saw the first like 20 minutes.
Yeah, and then I stopped watching it.
Yeah.
And then my like roommate was on season 3, and I caught some of it, and I'm like, this seems like they're at the exact same place. And
Wait, he was in the show or he was watching it?
no, he was just watching it. I was
Oh.
like, they haven't moved the needle at all. And he said apparently it comes like full circle. But then I'm like, well, then I don't
You
need to
don't got
watch
time
it.
for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's also an hour long. each
Everyone says
episode,
it's like
so many episodes.
enjoyable, but I
Yeah.
don't know. You know what I did watch on the plane actually, and I wrote me in, but now I don't have access to it. Yellowstone. That was good.
Oh yeah, people are talking about that. What's that on Amazon?
I think it's on like Paramount, which is why it's like
Yeah, dude, there's so
it's so
many
annoying
these days.
Well, this is what they do. They give you 20 fucking services, but then every one only has like one show, but it's a must-watch show.
Right.
So then you have to
Yeah.
get all of them.
yeah.
There's like Netflix will have like 1 or 2 good shows at a time. It's never like multiple options.
The documentaries, I think
Docs.
Netflix does the best job.
I would maybe
Probably.
agree. Except, you know what? Sneakily, sometimes HBO throws a really good doc
Like
or
the
docu
Jinx,
series.
but that was a while. That was a while ago.
That was a while ago, but that was amazing.
Real estate boys.
I actually-
for those of you who don't know what we're talking about.
I actually, what's it called? Like, I guess the grandchild of that guy, or maybe
Durst?
even great. Yeah. Like their company needed an apartment, and they, for whatever reason, they like had my info. I had met a couple
Their
people at the
company
company.
needed an apartment.
Like, so basically their company needed an apartment, like called me, like, can you help us find an apartment for someone? And who it was like the grandchild who was like a baby, like nanny. So I was like with like this little bit prince, this baby prince, and
With a
the
kid,
nanny.
with the nanny.
And the nanny
How much
looking
was the
around the
apartment?
apartment. Not that much.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, it could have been whatever.
Yeah.
But it was like, I mean, it's a lot to just pay for your nanny, though.
Yeah.
But it was like, like $2,500 a month, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I would have said, if you said not that much, I would have thought like $5,000.
Well, this is also like maybe like 7 or 8 years ago.
Oh, so that in New York
So now
prices
it'd be
now,
like-
that's like $5,000.
No. It'd probably be like
4,000?
3,200.
You think 3,200-ish?
35, but
So like a classic one bedroom in an elevator building.
yeah, it was like studios and one beds
Yeah.
mostly, and like nice buildings. But it was, but I mean, so it's like it's not that much. But then if you think about it, it's like they're paying her plus they're just giving her an apartment, so it is actually kind of a lot.
I'm sure you saw a lot of crazy situations like that in real estate. Do you remember any deals that were tough to close or?
I've had all of them. I mean, in commercial, it's like all of them.
Right, but like a
yeah.
dramatic situation.
Well, there was
We don't have the money.
There was one who was not even dramatic because of the real estate necessarily, but I was like working to find this psychologist's office. Like I was working with a psychology group. And they were opening an office,
and they all wanted like Upper East Side on the ground floor type.
This was like a cutting edge, like young, like whatever.
Yeah.
So they wanted like like sexy Flatiron kind of like space. But the guy that on the other end was this old Italian guy who was like very nice, but he was just a classic like old school New Yorker or whatever. And I'm supposed to like deal is like pretty much done at this point, and it's been taking a while, but we've all been behaving well, and it's like about to be done. I'm supposed to go to Portugal and London for 2 weeks with a group of my friends. Right before we leave, I lost my passport, so I was like, "Fuck, I can't go now." It's the worst thing that ever happened, and I was like, "Am I about to just not go on this awesome trip that we planned for years?" And my friends are like helping me look and then Ubering to the airport.
Lost it?
Yeah, and then but they're like still trying to help me coordinate. So like, this is actually a quick PSA. So like. New York, I tried to get this. There's same-day passport offices. There's a handful throughout the country.
In the city?
So there's one in the city.
Yeah.
I called them. They're like, it's going to be at least a week till we could get you in.
Some fucking same day.
So, exactly. So then I like asked, I just like threw it out there, like, does anyone know? And one of my friends said he went to one in Stamford, Connecticut. Tons of open appointments in Stamford. For whatever, because it's like outside of the city.
Was this the day before your flight, though?
This is the day after my flight. So I rebooked a flight the next day, went to Stamford, same day passport, and got to Portugal. I only missed 1 day.
Wow.
Which was crazy. So
Impressive.
if you ever lose your passport, go to Stamford.
Yeah, okay. Noted, dude.
But as I'm at the passport office, same day, literally about to like fly out to Portugal, it's like I had just got my passport and I get a voicemail. And this guy, I guess like the deal was supposed to be signed. My clients like weren't getting back to him. And he's like left me a voicemail that I've saved to this day, just telling me to like go fuck myself. He's gonna like
the broker sent you this?
The broker. He's like flipping out. It was like a 2-minute voicemail of him cursing me out, and then I like am in the passport office, so I'm like I can't deal with this right now.
Wait, but quickly, the guy who was cursing you out was representing the space that was supposed to be signed. Oh, was the landlord or was it broker?
It was landlord's broker.
Okay. What the fuck?
So he's like flipping out on me. And then he's like super Italian and intimidating.
I'm gonna break your fucking knees,
it was kind of
Velasquez.
scary. And then I get it. I'm like, I can't deal with this now. So then I get out of the passport office and I call him, and he's like, "Oh, it's all good. Sorry to bother you." I'm like, "This is the most Italian man ever. Sorry to bother me. You just told me you were gonna like kill me. What are you talking about?"
You think the mob's still around?
Oh,
us being New
yes.
Yorkers, you think so? But what are they doing these days,
Dude? In commercial real estate, I'm telling you, they're in food, a lot in food. And obviously construction still, and like waste management, all that stuff.
Houses and shit.
Well, my friend used to be like
meat houses. What are they called?
Meat packing.
Well, meat. Yeah, I guess.
Butchers?
Yeah, butchers.
There we go. That took way longer than it should.
I'm a vegan, so fuck y'all.
That's on me too. Oh yeah, my friend. He's like, he used to be really high up in some grocery store, basically, because he was like,
What, like Aristides or some New York
Fairway.
one? Oh yeah, okay.
But
dude, I order Instacart from there a lot.
They're the best.
Yeah,
Fairway's great.
They're like cheap, pretty good.
He was like a finance guy, so I guess he worked for like the company that bought Fairway or something.
Okay.
That was his connection. But he said not Fairway, but like all the distributors that you go to meet in like Hunts Point in the Bronx. He's like, the amount of mafia in food is like, that's like where they are. Is like food or like restaurants. I dealt with a couple guys that owned a few restaurants, and I'm not sure if they were the mafia, but you're like, there's a good chance this guy's in the mafia.
Also, what, like, dude, 75% of restaurants don't even make it past 5 years, too. So I imagine if they've been around for a long time. Yeah, they've been a couple. They must be really good restaurateurs. My dad has worked in New York City real estate for 30 plus years. He said he hasn't encountered them. But
is he residential? It's way more polished. But commercial, dude, I took one of these guys out. He owns like 3 restaurants. We get into a space. Broker cancels on us. He's like, we can't get into the door. Super Italian guy. Not that, whatever. And I'm like, it's locked. We have to reschedule.
he shoots the lock.
We have to reschedule. He says, I'm from Brooklyn. He takes out a credit card and he jimmied the door open. And we walk through the space.
He was a broker?
No, he was just a regular guy that owned 3 restaurants. I'm like, this guy might be in the mob. It was too easy. He jimmied that door so easily. I was like, this guy could be in the mob.
It's interesting because it's so much different from back in the day. It seems like they had their hand in way more businesses. And you see John Gotti.
Yeah, it's definitely not what it used to be.
Right.
It's barely that. Yeah.
So you see John Gotti III was in the ring with Floyd Mayweather, and John Gotti III just like him and his team like bombarded Floyd and his team. Was crazy because Floyd was teasing the shit out of him.
Wait, over what?
It was a boxing match, an exhibition match.
But he wasn't fighting him. He was
no,
just
Floyd
taunting.
was just, bro, imagine it wasn't Floyd Mayweather and I'm saying this. No, I'm pretty sure it was Floyd. Like, he was, like, teasing him. He's like, come on, son. Come on, dog. And then, like, his whole team bugged out. I wouldn't really want to mess with the mob.
Actually, my dad has a great mob story. Dad's a musician.
We can call on him, yeah.
And him and all his friends are musicians.
He grew up in Riverdale, too?
He grew up in, like, the real, like, Arthur Ave, near Arthur Ave, and, like, Clinton something. I don't know.
Like 180s?
Yeah, like 180s.
180th Street.
But all his friends musicians from like New York, like and they had this one guy that like would get like he kind of would sit in with them sometimes, and he said he was like an over the top like character, and he would get them these like insane gigs, like these massive weddings or whatever,
the jazz club or whatever.
They were all like, we had a sneaking suspicion because he was like vague about what he did, and like he got us into all these crazy rooms. So he's like, we had a sneaking suspicion he might have been like somewhat connected in a weird way. And then there was that famous Sparks Steakhouse shooting.
Who died in that?
It was a Gotti hit, I think. I don't forget if it was a Gotti.
Was that in a movie? Maybe?
I'm sure it's been drama. Like, yeah, I'm sure it's been in movies before.
Okay.
But it was like a very famous like mafia hit. And they're just like listing all the indictments for it. And the guy that was in there.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, banned. That was like one of the guys listed. And they're like, and then like, you know, obviously no one cares about my dad and his friends, but he said some of his friends are freaking out. They're like, they got our phones tapped.
Yeah, dude. Like being a musician back in that time, 60s, 70s, and 80s, like I wonder if Frank Sinatra probably went through. He's probably boys with a ton of mafia people.
100%. He was not only boys, I think he was like almost the alpha, kind of. Like it was almost like
he was like the big dog, like Young Thug.
It's kind of
he's like,
he's young
kill
thug.
this guy, kill this guy.
I don't know if he was, but it was more like the mafia being like nobody lays a hand on Frank.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Frankie!
He had like immunity.
Hey Frankie! By the way, free Young Thug.
What's the? I don't know much about him.
Well, he apparently like the past 11 years has been, you know, an upcoming rapper from 2012 to 2014 and was like head of the gang, and he has allegedly been telling a lot of people to do some sort of dirty deeds, and he's done it multiple times and talks about it in his raps, but just came out with a great new album. I'd recommend listening to it.
From jail?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I believe that
acoustics, probably.
Yeah, dude. all the songs are from studio, so I imagine it was like, because he went to jail a year ago, I imagine he had recorded all this, but then he was just kind of waiting to see if he got out. But Flames, man. Flames.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's wild.
Yeah, dude. Well, Jake, dude, this has been an amazing episode. You're a freaking easy guy to talk to.
Likewise.
Before we get out
Always
of
a
here,
pleasure.
man, we're going to pop up your Instagram, and please let us know where your dates are.
I'm headlining 2 shows at Blend Comedy, Friday, Saturday, July 14, July 15.
You're doing an hour?
I'll probably I think it's headlining, quote unquote, but it's like 30 minutes.
Beautiful, dude.
Yeah. So it'll be fun. Yeah. So
all right, great. Dude, follow this guy. He's freaking hilarious, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much, Jake.
Thanks for having me.